All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans for Tuesday, July 20th, 2021. My name is Bill Soroka. I'm the author of Sign and Thrive, How to Make Six Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent, and host of the new podcast, The Side Hustle Lounge, where we get to talk about legit income opportunities, the mindset to make them successful, and of course, what you do or why you work so hard, talking about lifestyle design and adventure. I'm here with my incredible co-host, Carol Ray, founder of Notary 2 Pro. How's it going, Carol?
It's going wonderful. And you haven't been asking what we're excited about so much. But
What
and then
are
I
you
got
excited
something.
about?
I am excited because my youngest granddaughter and her friend are here for a few days visiting with us. And tomorrow we're going to an alpaca farm 3 miles from here where they give you food and you pet. It's just a small place, but they have alpacas, mini goats, all kinds of animals. And you go in there with them and you can feed them and you can pet them and play with them. And somebody that came to visit me, one of my notary friends, um, told me about it. He had a ball. So we're going there tomorrow. So I'm very excited. It was supposed to be
Cool.
today, but the rain happened. The
Oh,
owner
that
said, don't come.
sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Love it. And looks like our second co-host, Laura Buer, founder of CoachMeLaura.com, is in the house. Laura, how's it going today? What are you excited about?
It's good and improving. That's that's my latest catchphrase. I love that. It's good and improving. It's all good. I was in Vegas, which was hotter than heck out there this last weekend. And I met quite a few people who came up to see me to say, oh, you're on TNT. So yes, that was me. And I had a great time meeting so many of our fans and people that follow us and people who really feel like they get so much value here. I'm excited because Symposium opened their doors for ticket sales, and over 100 have already booked their seats. It went pretty quick, and every day, and it's every day. It's like yesterday, Sunday, and Monday, or excuse me, yeah, Sunday, Monday. So it's only been 48 hours. It's moving along. So if you didn't know when tickets were going to be available, there are now. Go to notarysymposium.com and you can get yours.
So yeah, I think I'm so excited about this, and it's real important, guys. This is very limited. Last year, Laura limited the attendance, even though it's virtual online, there's a limited capacity, and she sold out. And there were so many people that still wanted to buy tickets afterwards because they waited to the last minute. So if this is on your radar at all, if you'd like to learn to grow your mindset in your business, I highly recommend you get your tickets as soon as possible this time. And I did type that into the chat.
The date is November 6th for the actual event. And I think you're going to have a lot of fun. If you have any big butts, we're going to take care of them. And if you want to know what that's about, you're going to have to watch the video.
I love it. Sir Mix-a-Lot
I like your
keeps
hair,
popping
Laura.
into my head. What's
like
that?
It's pretty fluffy, huh?
No, I said, I like your hair, Laura.
You like my what?
Your hair.
Yeah, my hair. I said, yes, it's very fluffy today. Thank you. We have no air conditioning in my house. So I decided it was too hot to use any kind of things that blow hot air at my face. So this is what it looks like, guys. I don't do anything.
I love that.
You have no air conditioning.
Yeah, it went out yesterday and it was 100 something. My house was 97 degrees. It was a sweat box.
Oh, no.
So yeah, tomorrow is the first day the AC guy can come because of course everybody else's went out too. I'm not the only one.
Well, I raised my family without air conditioning for many, many years, and I used to go out every hour on the hour and hose off my roof. My kids still remember it. And I would get in their little plastic pool with them in the backyard.
Well, I do have a nice big giant pool. I might get out there, but when the sun's beating down, it's miserable.
Miserable.
So I'd be in here with the fan on.
Ouch. Well, I'm glad you made it. I'm glad you have electricity as well. And let's go ahead and jump in and get started, guys. TNT, Tuesday Notary Titans, that works like an old-fashioned call-in radio show, except we're on video. And if you have a question to submit to Laura or that you want to present to Laura, Carol, or myself, or all three, just use the raise hand feature in Zoom. When we call you, here's what we ask. Please tell us what state you are in. Please be as direct as possible with your question. We don't need the full story. If we do, we'll ask you some questions so we can get some background on it. And that should do it. We'll go as quickly as possible, try to get as many questions as we possibly can today. Also, thanks to Diane Hansen out of Texas. She suggested that we add the closed captioning feature, and I figured out how to do it on Zoom, and it seems to be working, although they warn that it's still really choppy with the actual words. So just be aware, there's not an individual out here typing that. It is automated, so it might not be entirely accurate. We cannot record that feature yet, so I'm working on the way to get it on YouTube. So you guys will have that on the replay as well. All right, let's jump in. Lisa Oakes from California. We already know that part. How's it going today? How can we help?
I keep getting, well, first of all, thank you. I was trying to get right to the point because you know how I am. Thank you so much for having me today. I love these. I love it when I can make it. How do you handle, I think I asked this before, but I'm having a lot of trouble with this lately. The names on the documents, half the documents, I have a fake name here, I wrote here, like McClare, capital M, lowercase c, and then instead of doing a capital C, they put a lowercase c again. And I asked the people, is this how you spell your name? When I do the confirmation, they say no. And so I call the signing service first and tell them, and they don't know what to do. So then I call escrow or title.
Lisa, what's the exact issue? Is it just that the name on the documents is spelled differently throughout the package?
Right, in different places. And I have my notarizations that's spelled. To me, that's a misspelling. And when I call them, I literally have been getting abused, and I'm not happy.
Carol, what do you say to something like this?
Well, first of all, if they don't want to correct it and they want it signed, are different pages different ways? I mean, is the package consistent, or is it different spellings on different documents?
Generally, the ones I've been getting lately, this just happened like all within a week. It's been just a lowercase, what's supposed to be capitalized, or the name is misspelled. And what they said, like different companies say different things. So one of them says, have them cross everyone out, write AKA, and then their actual name. And I think to myself, I'm barely getting paid enough to make this worth my while because it's a signing service last minute. How am I going to be taking this extra half hour to hour of time to do that? It's happening a lot. I'm getting frustrated with that. And when I call to ask them, can you just one little bit on your computer to fix it, and the whole thing would be straightened out and resend it. And they don't want to do that necessarily. And so one way I told them, I said, the signer will not sign the docs this way because I can't get them to change it. And I don't know what other people do. So I'm trying to go with what I'm new, and I kind of going with what I think is the correct and proper thing to do, but I don't want to be unreasonable. So what do you do?
Well, I can only tell you what I advise my students, and Bill and Laura may disagree, but I tell them to have them sign as it is on the documents. That's what they want to do. If they insist on signing, like with the capital C, I would say go ahead and do it. But most companies, they want you to have them sign exactly as it is. And then as far as if the driver's license have the same name and one letter is capitalized, as long as you're convinced that they are the same people that they, purport to be on the documents, I say go ahead, because things have loosened up for us over the years. It used to be that your identification had to match exactly the way it was on the documents. But now there's some leeway there where as long as you're convinced that, because we have run into that, especially with maiden names and married names kinds of things. And you might have to ask for extra proof, but I say go ahead and notarize it. Let them sign it the way it is, and let the lenders deal with it. If they've made the mistake, then and they won't correct it, they have to accept.
Okay,
Laura,
and then that's okay to do if the note, if the actual acknowledgement, for instance, is there with the lowercase. I know I'm acknowledging who they are, but it's really rubs me the wrong way when people just slop
I
the,
agree with you.
Ah.
And sometimes they're just stubborn. They made their mistake and they're not going to admit to it and they're not going to change it. So they're
and I
going to
can't
have
get
to.
in any trouble for that.
My feeling is no, I've been telling people this for a long, long time and I've never had anybody had an issue with it, but
Okay.
ask Bill and Laura. They're
Yeah,
well,
Laura, I'd love to hear your perspective on this. If you have anything to add, and maybe specifically even about the notarial block, because that's really what this is about from a notarial perspective.
Mhm.
Do you have anything to add to that?
Well, first thing is if all the letters are there and it's a capitalization, I tell them sign your name correctly and I move on. I see it's them. It's the same name. This happens with McCoy, McClare. It just happens all the time. So I'm not worried about it. Sign your name. I will not instruct them to sign their name wrong. I will not do that. I will tell them you can sign your name how you want. I tell you that my practice is I make a call and I say, here's what the issue is and here's what the options I see are available for me. We can strike, initial, and do that. That's one option. The other option is we don't mess with the printed name. We just let them sign it correctly. Or you could redraw documents. What would you like? What's your pleasure? And then I'm happy to do whatever it is. And then I write down a note. What did they tell me to do? Because remember, the signature line is not my area. That's document area. And it is the
Mhm.
unauthorized practice of law for me to tell my signer how to do it.
Mhm.
So all I can do is really each time that it happens is I have to reach out to say, here's the discrepancy. What path would you like me to take? I see we can do A, B, C.
So
One of the
if they tell
problems-
me, oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, one of the problems that my students are facing because they're brand new. I
Mhm.
mean, they're like taking the
Right.
course and getting their certificate and they're out there, is that they're reaching out with a lot of companies now that they can't get answers. There's no response. There's people that are not picking up the phone. I had a couple of issues this morning with Timios. I had a couple of students that had a problem. I like Timios. They're a good company, but they couldn't get answers. So they're on the phone with
And
me and I'm doing the best I
pose it,
can.
Carol. I pose it to the customer. It's their loan documents. It's not
Mhm.
my package. It's theirs. So what are they willing? What do they want to do if I cannot get contact?
Right.
If they say, I don't want to sign like this, that's the end of my story.
Yeah.
Because I can't direct them to do otherwise. If they say, I'm willing to sign my name right, I don't care what's printed, if it has a lowercase or high capital case, whatever. Great, we'll move on that way because I'm going to identify them. And that little discrepancy isn't going to stop me from proving it's them.
That was, Laura, thank you, because that's really what it was about, that.
Okay.
And the other thing, what I don't want to do is what they were telling me to do is, well, have them cross it off right, also known as their whole name. And I thought, you know, when I took this job and you told me it was a short package and now I'm having to do a whole nother acknowledgement because it's written so small, I can't.
But you'll have,
it in.
Lisa, you have to work it out with your hiring company because it's not your place to tell them that's acceptable or not acceptable. And then
Yeah,
you'll have to decide if there's negotiation that has to happen or not, or the next time you take a job from them, you need to charge more.
yeah.
But it's the signature line and that's not our area to tell them what we think is the right thing for them to do.
Well, on the actual acknowledgement, this happens to be all
Right,
out of
but that
state
happens,
anyway.
Lisa, that happens after you figure out what's happening at the signature line. Do you see what I'm saying? That will determine what happens later. If I'm accepting their ID and I'm accepting everything and I don't like that it's lowercase there, I'll just replace it. I'll replace it with my own acknowledgement. It's not a big deal for me.
Okay.
Yeah. I just don't want to get people too caught up in the signature line because that's still document area, not the notary area.
Yes,
So
I
we
hear
really
you
can't
on
get
that.
direction. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that. It's just that every single one is also filled in wrong on the acknowledgement. So then I have to add another
Yeah. and
12
that's what
filled
that's
out
what you have to
things.
do. Welcome
Yeah.
to being a notary. That's
This
what
is
you have to
hard.
do sometimes. It's
Don't
just-
like cleaning up after other people, I gotta say.
well, I can't say it's my favorite job, but it comes with the territory.
Okay, thank you. And that's what I want to hear. What do other people go through? You
Yeah.
know, thank you.
This is pretty standard stuff too, but here's, and I think Laura would do the same thing here. If I find a repeat offender, and I've done this with escrow officers, and signing companies are a whole other ballgame. But I remember with signing companies, they're working with their lenders. So they might have lenders or title companies that are the repeat offenders, not necessarily the signing company. So, but I've had to let escrow officers go because they do that. They do not have the attention to detail. They constantly make mistakes and it jams me up. And even if they are paying me a full fee, I don't like to clean up other people's messes. I don't like that stress. So peace of mind is a priority for
Same.
me. And if you have to let a company go, then that might be the best decision for you.
Thank
One
you
of
for
the
saying
things-
that.
One of the things that I'm finding, I had 2 mentoring calls this morning, is the missing document that when you send the package back, they call a day or two later and say, you didn't get the XXX, whatever. Today it was a grant deed. You didn't get the grant deed signed. Yeah, I'm telling my students, save those documents, put them on a flash drive, keep them. Because this is going to happen. And it happened to this gal. She was so upset because it went to her first signing. The people loved her. They said great things about her to the hiring company. And they get a call 2 days later, your notary didn't get this deed signed. And luckily she went into her flash drive and she looked at the documents that were sent. She never got it. I've said the story before where I drove 240 miles round trip to get one signed that we never got. And so that's really, you don't let them bullwink you out of, being paid to go back and do it. You can prove that they didn't send it to you. You keep
I
them.
think what it is that I'm trying to do everything just right and I'm new and I don't know what other people do. And also because integrity is really important to me and that I want to do it right. And I do go way out of my way and I don't complain to them about anything, but that, oh, and there's one of my signers right now. Hold on, I'll call you right back. Okay. Is that I'm working so hard and having the level of disrespect that comes from the people that talk to me on the phone. I don't want to live my life that way. I want to do a good job, but I don't have control over what the other aspect is. And that's why what Laura was saying, this is the business. I might have to reevaluate because I do feel like maybe there's another aspect of the business I can do. I really don't know if loan signing is it for me. I think I enjoy the general or specialized notary work more because it's more straightforward. I'm not sure about this loan signing gig and I don't want to dissuade anybody else on the call because people do it differently, but the people are saying they do it in 15 minutes and they get in there and I'm an hour and a half because I explain what it is or I summarize the document and people read sometimes and then I think because I came as a professional in 35 years in a business where I made a decent income, I was willing to start in the beginning to work at a lower income to learn, to have a paid internship. But now I feel like I'm doing my part right, but I'm having to clean up everybody else's mess. And that doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah. So Lisa, I'm really glad that you're just sharing this because what you're experiencing is one way that this business can go on occasion. And I love that you're recognizing what you like and what you don't like. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong. There's a lot of, especially in California, there's a lot of notaries that have decided not to go the loan signing route because they don't want to work with signing companies or they don't want to build the relationships direct with escrow or they just don't like the real estate vibe, whatever it might be. And you guys have a lot of opportunity in specialty notary work. There's nothing wrong with that. Find the way that works for you, but then also know that you are a professional. And when you get irked because people treat you unprofessionally, realize that they're giving you feedback. They're giving you information that says where you can make the decision that doesn't work for me. And it is okay not to take that from people. It is absolutely okay to only work with people that you enjoy working with in this business. you will get to a point where you can make that decision. You might make it a little faster than others because of your background and where you are and kind of just how you feel about things and your personality traits. You might not have any tolerance for BS, right? There's a lot of people have lots of tolerance for it. You might not be that person, and that's okay. You can find, if you want to eliminate the hassle and the third-party communication, you can go direct. You can find people. There's no rule that says you have to wait for 100 signings or 50 signings. If you already have a level of professionalism and commitment to win-win relationships, you might be able to do it faster than other people. That's okay. That might be the way to go, where your stomach doesn't flip every time a certain person calls. Like that used to be my indicator. If a client calls me and I dread picking up the phone, we're done. Like I just can't do that. I want to love my business. I need energy to do my business. You know, I'm busting my hump. I've got big dreams. I want to make this work. I want to do a good job and enjoy doing it. I can't do that with negative Nancy's and Charlie's dragging me down. It just doesn't work. And it's okay to let them go. And the fear that comes with letting people go, like, I'm not going to make enough money. They're going to tell all their friends. They're not going to hire me. All of that is false. I mean, it's kind of real, but in my experience, every time I've done that and I've just had the courage just to cut, not burning any bridges, but just not working together anymore, it seems to clear a space where something better can come in. It has been incredible how that has worked out.
I do believe in that. And I like being positive. I love building relationships. That's why I love this business. And it seems like there are those people out there. So I think what happened is I've just had 3 days of, where it's been rough and I'm reevaluating some stuff, and I don't have a problem. I'm of a certain age where I don't have a problem saying no, thank you. That's not going to work for me.
Yeah.
So, and I love that you promote that about relationships, because I think that is the biggest part of this.
Right.
But at the same time, that means I'm going to treat you well. You're going to treat me well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. That's not an unreasonable request. And here's the other closing point on this too. Value in relationships, having win-win, having a little bit of fun, or really connecting. That value is in the eye of the beholder. There are going to be people where you are just a transaction, and they don't care about your personality. They don't want any story. They don't want anything. You are just a stamp and notary to them. Those are not the people we want to work with. Usually, probably on this call, I guarantee that's not what we're looking for. And if they don't see value in that, that's okay. We don't have to. I love Winston Churchill says, you'll never get where you're going if you stop and throw rocks at every dog that barks at you. It's not going to work. We don't have to make a big thing about it. It's okay to let it go. It's okay to let it go. There is another way of doing business, and there's other people who are going to appreciate you for what you bring to the table. And it will blow your mind when you just connect. You'll just vibe with them, and they're going to give you their business. You're going to love working for them. You're going to have cocktails on the weekends, maybe, if you want to, or coffee or whatever it might be. So that does exist. All right, Lisa, I'm going to wrap it up here if that's okay. We're going to move on to some other questions.
Thank you so much. I think that's important though for people to hear. So thank you so much.
I totally agree. And I really appreciate that you brought that up. That sparked a great conversation. We do not have to just lay down and take whatever this industry wants to throw at us. It does not have to be like that. Sometimes in the beginning, you're figuring things out. This works for me. This doesn't work for me. When you find what doesn't work, you can cut it off and let it go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Mary Stone, thank you so much for being here. If you would like to unmute, tell us what state you're in and how we can help.
Good morning. Thank you very much. And thank you for this great Zoom meeting. I'm in California. And my question is kind of related to Lisa's in that it has to do with signing line, the title under signing line not matching what signature I was supposed to get. So I had 2 signings, both of them involved trusts. In both cases, the signing company contact person said that I could either have them sign as a trustee, or the other one was a successor, a co-successor trustee. That if it said that, I should have them sign that. If it was just their name, they should sign just that. So that's what I did. we got halfway through the signing and the signer had a question for the title company. We called the title company and the signer, asked that question and it was answered. And then the signer just happened to ask, do I have to sign co-successor trustee on all these, lines? And the title company person said, no, don't sign co-successor trustee. If you do, it'll just get bounced back. And I think she said by the county recorder, I'm not sure, but she did say it would be bounced back by somebody.
Okay.
So we had already gone halfway through the packet. I had already notarized 3 documents, which he signed co-successor trustee. So I pulled the copies out of the signer's packet, put those back into the original packet and had him re-sign them. And I notarized those copies.
Perfect.
I put the copies that I had already notarized with the incorrect signature into his packet. So I kind of have 2 questions. One of them is, and I haven't been able to find anywhere, whether if it says trustee, co-trustee, successor, whatever it says under the line, is the signer supposed to include that in his or her signature? A.
All right, hold on one
B.
second right there, Mary. Let's answer that question first, okay? Because I'll lose
Yes.
track here. So I'm going to jump in here on this one, and I'd love to hear from Carol or Laura. But when it comes to, especially with trustees, like they changed the language where there's this paragraph that says John Smith as individual and as trustee of the such and such trust. So logically, that should just be a signature, and then he's signing as the individual and as the trustee. But what I found in this industry is logic does not always prevail. So still to this day, I call and I get confirmation from the closing agent. Remember, the signing company doesn't always know much more than we do in a transaction. They're busy. They've got other things going on. They're not looking at the files every single time. So I'll call the closing agent or the lender to get confirmation on that. I tend to work escrow direct. So I'll just call the title officer and just say, hey, what would you like to see here? And I frame that question in such a way so they know, and my clients know me now, but I frame it in a way so I come in as a professional and not as a newbie, right? I'm just going to say, I see the language here, but I just want to confirm because I've got some clients that like us to include the trustee anyway, and some that do not. What would you like to see here? Frame it in a professional way so you get an answer and treat it like a professional and not like, oh gosh, here's a notary who doesn't even know how to sign a document or have a document notarized. So I
Okay.
ask every single time, and if I can't get an answer, then I'm gonna apply logic to the situation. And my key is, for me in Arizona, what I found with all of my clients is consistency. If I'm not going to have them sign as trustee, I don't have them sign as trustee. If I'm going to have them sign as trustee, they sign it on everything.
I had a situation years ago when that phrase came out, when they did the individual and as the trustee, did a Bank of America one, and it was a VIP signing. We drove 50 miles to it. And I had them sign their name and just their name, didn't put down, as an individual, blah, blah, blah. Got the docs, got docs back and everything was fine. The next day we had a signing that was fairly local, and it was exactly the same situation. Bank of America documents, different signing service. And I called just to make sure what I was supposed to do, because I wasn't sure how they were going to react with how it needed to be signed. And sure enough, they said, no, you need to sign with all of the whole verbiage after their name. I couldn't believe it. But 2 different signing services. It was not Bank of America. It was the signing service that decided how to do it. But it was fine. So you never know. Always call if you need to in a situation like that.
Yeah, I prefer better safe than sorry in those situations. And like I said, logic doesn't prevail. So every time I've tried to apply logic, or I thought, okay, well, it'll be like this on this one, I've been burned. So I just ask every time.
Okay.
So,
And
Mary, what's part 2?
just one thing. So the preferred authority would be though the closing agent or the title company rather than the signing agency. Is that correct?
If at all possible, yeah,
Yeah.
I like to go straight to the horse's mouth on those things.
Right. Okay. Okay. The other question is, did I make a terrible error in giving, like I said, I put the notarized copies, it was 2 acknowledgements and a jurat back into the signer's packet. And I and I notarized the
Yeah.
others that okay. And so, but in my journal, I just have 3 notarizations. I didn't write 3 more notarizations. And
Mary,
it's haunting me.
that's a great question. Laura, what do you have to say on this?
I just strike the notarial part. I just put a little strike through the notarial part. It wasn't, it's not the one that's going to be completed in my journal.
I'm not understanding you.
So the notarial block, I draw a strike through it.
Okay. Okay.
So it's a
If
little
it
late for
makes you
that.
feel better, you can also make a note in your journal that there were 3
Yeah.
notarizations that were not completed.
Okay. Okay. I'll
So-
think on that.
So so right now it's after the fact, right, Mary? So
Yes.
the best course of action is to go in your journal and just document what happened. As far as risk goes, it's extremely low risk right now. And it's a
Okay.
legitimate document, right? So
Mhm.
one way or the other, they're going to need that document, but you've already submitted the new one. So going forward in the future, anytime you run into this situation, you know that you can just strike through it and invalidate it
Okay.
through
And
the
then- and
entire
then-
notarial block.
Okay. And then I would, okay. All right. Thank you very much for your help, and I'll listen. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. And if you're wondering if you should still document your journal, there's no such thing as over documentation in your journal. If you feel
Okay.
compelled to do it, just write it in there for sure.
All right. I can do that. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Mary. All right, Larry, nice to see you back on. You want to unmute,
Hello.
tell everybody what state you're in and how we can help?
Hi, everyone. I'm in California. I actually have a question and a request for reassurance. The reassurance is I did a closing last week. I had one of those forms where they ask the notary to fill out all sorts of information about themselves, like your commission, your name, your phone number, sign it. And then they have a space requesting that I stamp it, which I didn't do. I sent the package in, and the loan process, whatever, the guy from title came back at me with the fact that I didn't stamp it. And I told him that, from what I remember, we're not supposed to stamp that because that's notarizing your own signature, which you can't do.
Right.
And he said, because this was all happening at a company in New Jersey, that's okay. That's like, he was saying that's a rule for California, but not New Jersey, and I should do it and send him a new form, which I wouldn't do. I don't think I'm going to be working with that company anymore because he seemed
Okay.
really upset. But I just wondered if that's true.
Laura, what do you say to that?
What I say to that is that form is not notarized. If you want to fill it out and sign your name to it, I don't have an issue with that, but we would not use our seal of office unless it's for the purposes of notarization. So, and all the states. Now, I will tell you that you can sign and stamp a document that has a signer's signature in some states. Michigan, I think, is one of those where they can do that, but you have to have a signer's signature before you would ever utilize your stamp. We would never utilize it when it's just our own.
So you did well.
That's true in all 50 states. I don't care what state you're in.
Thank
But
you.
we're finding more and more that companies are doing this. I get calls all the time now, and you absolutely will never stamp those.
Right.
I know some notaries actually quote the state statute for not doing that, and that usually takes care of the problem.
I used to
What?
have stickies. I put like labels, the 2x4 labels, and I had a sticky that I would put on that I am not allowed to stamp this document because it could invalidate my commission. I can sign it but not stamp it.
I think this guy's
Something
story
to that effect.
was because we were in different states, there were different rules, but I didn't believe them.
Yeah,
But-
well, that's a good point you bring up too, Larry, because to counteract that, you are a California notary acting in California, so you have to abide by California laws, not New Jersey laws. That would be nice, but no, it doesn't happen that way. All right, great question. Was there a follow-up to that too, Larry?
Well, my second question, and maybe it's specific to California, but now that we're allowed to enter more than one document in our book for signing, I wonder, are there rules for like abbreviations, say, for instance, the affidavit of occupancy? Could you put that in your book as half of document of occupancy to get it all in that space, the space you're working with?
Great question. Laura, what do you have to say on that?
Unmute. Okay, so I'd also like maybe Matt to chime in. What I'm going to tell you is my understanding is if you don't have enough space really to be handling multiple documents, because you have to write it out, it's not a check mark where it's printed already and you could just mark that it's that name. I'd be very careful about that because if they can't tell what the name of the document is, because not everybody would abbreviate it the same way, I wouldn't do it. I think the guidance we've been given is that there are some journals that would help support us to have more than one entry. However, they are pre-printed names. So if you're using like the NNA journal, that does not support having more than one document in there.
Right,
That makes sense?
yes. But there is a space for notes or whatever where I was thinking I would list all of the documents. But, some of them documents have really long names, so wondering about abbreviation.
They do. And I think you're going to have to use some of your own discretion, Larry. Remember, there's a difference between compliance and protection. And that's what I want you guys to be thinking about when you take shortcuts. All right. It may take shave a few minutes off now, but nobody's going to be sitting next to you when you're in court later. So that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, good point. Good point. All right, Larry, great to see you on again. Thanks for being here. Randy Venters from Washington. How's it going, Randy?
Good. How are you doing today, Bill?
Excellent. How can we help today?
Two questions. The first one is a follow-up to Larry's first question. So it's usually through signing services, companies in other states are requesting that form where you're putting in your information, your commission number, expiration date, E&O, all that stuff. And then they usually put a line in there that says, if you don't fill this out, it could cause delays in funding and you're going to be held liable. Is there an issue with not putting that in because the signing service already has all that information? Or is it something we should just offer up to that title company?
So you're not asking necessarily about the stamp. You're saying, should we choose not to give them the information they're asking for, like our E&O insurance info? Okay.
Yeah.
Carol, do you have an opinion? Carol, Laura, opinion on this?
My computer froze on me, so I just lost everything. I'm not sure what is it. Somebody's asking a question about what?
Okay, so on the notary information form that we were just talking about with where they ask you to stamp it. So in addition to that, or except for that, if you don't want to give them your notary information, you don't want to give your E&O insurance or your commission number, can you opt out of that? Is that a good idea or not?
Well, I don't see any harm in doing it if it's going to cost you business. I don't like it when they ask for all of that, but I think it's your own choice.
Yeah.
If they're not going to hire you because you don't provide the information, I would never send them. You can send them a copy of your commission. I tell my students do that rather than trying to stamp it and decide whether or not you're going to be, putting that information. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't send them, like an acknowledgement, my signature. But you can send them a copy of your commission if that's what they're asking for. It's proof that you're a notary.
Laura,
Is
what
that
do
the
you
one you're talking about?
Yeah, that's exactly the one.
Yeah, I just send a copy of your commission.
Laura, what do you think?
I don't have an issue with filling out the form. I mean, it's not like they can't find out. My commission number is right on my stamp. Even the E&O, if they're asking me,
Yeah, Randy, do you have, what's the opposition? Is it just because it takes a few extra minutes? You think it's private?
I don't know, to the degree of like somewhat private of like how much information are we giving them before they need it for a reason? Kind of, it's like some signers asking, for your ID and then wanting to take a picture of it or verify who you are type of thing. Like, is there just more information than what they need at the point? Or, it's not a huge deal filling out the form. I don't stamp it anymore and I just put on there by law, I'm not allowed to stamp this.
Yeah.
They provide my stamp, or I put on there, I cannot notarize my own signature.
I don't know. For me, I just, I like to choose my battles, and this just does not seem like something that would be worth the energy.
And maybe it's not, I just kind of a follow up to that. I've
Yeah.
thought of in the past of, do I put that information? Don't I put that on there? And especially because some title companies put on there of, if you don't provide this, you're held liable if this delays funding. Like it's really going to delay the process up.
Well, and there are some lenders that really take it seriously, like Provident for one. Like they ask for that information. They want the specific details. So that could be situations. That's why I don't want to jam things up. I don't have some reason in my head that's important enough not to give them the information that they want. So I just give them what they want and let's get this thing going.
My
Okay.
husband had his identity stolen, or his notary something stolen. And so I'm very careful about doing that. And that's why I tell people they don't need, if they want your insurance and that kind of thing, but when they start getting down to where they want to look at your stamp and everything else, no, I won't do it. I tell my students, send them a copy of your commission. That's proof enough.
Beautiful. All right, Randy. Great question. Did you
All
have
right,
a
my
part two?
second question.
Yeah.
I had another question that was not related to that.
Okay.
From a marketing standpoint, how much is too much to put on a business card if you're, a notary and a signing agent and a apostille and wedding officiant and a permit runner and everything else? Like, where do you draw the line of, are you carrying around 3 or 4 different business cards?
I love that you brought that up. I used to struggle with this all the time. And then I designed one of those like book business cards where it had each of the different things. Nobody looks at it anyway. So what I decided was I'm just going to have a real nice, clean card. If I'm going to be, the rule for me was if I was going to go to a live networking event where I'm representing myself as a notary, then I needed a notary business card. If I'm going to represent myself as whatever else I had going on, if it was a wedding officiant, I would have a wedding officiant business card. I chose to do those separate because I didn't want to confuse people. And then I really got clear on what my USP, my universal selling proposition was. So I would have a card that just kind of had an encompassing thing. I want to drive people to my website. I can talk about everything that I do on my website. So that's where I started. I made my website super bold. That's the call to action I wanted. I want you to visit my website. You can book an appointment with me. You can see all the other cool stuff I'm doing and how else I might be able to help you. That's how I did it. Laura, Carol, do you have any suggestions on that?
Keep it simple.
yeah,
Yep.
I say the same thing. I think one of the mistakes that I see when people ask me to look at their card is that their name and their phone number are not big enough. I mean, I need to be able to see your name right away, and I need to see a contact, whether it's going to be your email or your phone, but whatever it is you're driving them to, make sure they can read it. Make sure that the font isn't so fancy I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I want to add something to that. I find that there are so many people that do not include their phone numbers on their email. This is absolutely ridiculous. If you want people to call you back, include that in your signature line on your email. It's so important. I can't stress enough.
Awesome. Good suggestions. Randy, let us know how it goes.
Thank you.
Hey, Bill. Hey, Bill.
Yes, who's that?
Bill. This is Daniel up here in Portland.
Hey, Daniel.
Hey, one thing on business cards that I see people make a big mistake on is putting stuff on the back. Make sure the back of your card is blank, because people, when you get in the business card, they're going to want to take notes about you and everything. And if you've got so much on your card, the back has got printing, and you want to try and get as much as you can on there. I used to do this, and people would say, look, this is a problem. If you want us to remember you, I need to tell you what I remember about you. So keep that back of your card blank.
Great suggestion. Thank you. Thank you, Daniel. Dan Trell from Texas. Nice to see you on. How can we help today?
Oh yeah. Hey, it's great to be here. I had a question because I was some people. Okay, some people said something about giving you like your journal, right? And like if anybody asks for your journal, you're supposed to let them look at it. I know it's public record, and I think y'all kind of maybe touched on that, earlier. But do you let them look at it?
Okay, great question. I love the way you're asking this, and I want to make sure we answer that clear, because it's not willy-nilly, right? It's not like, hey, here's my journal, here's everybody's personal information and signatures, go take a look. Laura, you want to jump in and talk about what the
And it's state specific as to what rules you follow. So just for instance, in California, I'm required to get the request in writing. I'm required to be provided the who, the what, the when. And that has to all be correct. And then I'm only going to provide, they can't look at the journal, but I can provide them a photocopy of what's in my journal that matches what they gave me. In California, you are not allowed to be sharing your journal with the public. That's not the correct access. The access is through photocopies. I can share my journal with law enforcement or through a subpoena process. In other states, they may allow for you to share the journal directly. I would have to check Texas to know specifically what the rules are for Texas, but let's just pretend for a moment that you can share the journal. You would need to control the book. You would want to make sure they can't see anything else except what they're asking to see. They can't just, examine the whole book from end to end. And that's assuming even that Texas does allow examination of a journal versus providing copies to people of what's in the journal that's pertinent to what they're asking for.
Yeah, and that was the discussion, and they were trying to differentiate because the person who had asked it, never mind. It was just thank you so much. That definitely helped out. Because I mean, anybody just asking for your journal if you're like doing doing some notary work is just kind of like, well, why do you want to see my journal? So
definitely don't want to do that.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Dan Trell. Good to see you. All right, Joe, welcome. You want to unmute? Tell us what state you're in and how we can help.
Hi. I'm in California, and I talked to him a couple weeks ago, but yeah. Anywho, sorry. We'll just get to the question I'm saying, or the question?
Yeah, just ask your question. What's up?
Yeah. Okay, so I've been hearing about this online, and I just wanted to know and confirm from you guys and from your personal experience, is the National Notary like the best way to get more signings?
Joe, what state are you in?
California.
Did you just say California? Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the best way to get more signing appointments, like loan signing appointments? Is that your question?
Yeah, just loan signing appointments or just business. Like, is the National Notary Association like the best way to go from it? Because I basically in the process of getting my certificate of authorization, and I just want to know like if I should also spend more time, like actually spend some time delving into the national as well, or should I just get my feet wet and just start off like without it for a bit?
Okay. All right. To clarify, what you mean by National Notary Association, are you talking about their loan signing certification?
Yes.
Then I would say there's no way around that, and I would highly recommend it. Even though there's other great certification, right? Like Carol Ray's Notary to Pro is going to be great training and certification. across the country, that National Notary Association certification is accepted everywhere. It's not required, but they're going to be looking for a certification. So if you don't get it from the NNA for some reason, you're going to get one somewhere. So it's a good place to start. I always recommend that you do. Even though I would recommend that you get training elsewhere, whether it's through Notary to Pro, through Sign and Thrive, you're going to need more information than you're going to get at the National Notary Association's course. It's a good first step towards, but you're going to need it. If you're going to grow this business, you're going to need a certification. You're going to need E&O insurance to make this work and to start signing up with signing companies. They are going to be looking for that.
Bill, can I add something to
Please
that?
do. Yeah, Carol.
In our course, because it is very important to have that NNA certification. What we do is we get a lot of students who come to us first, or they come to us because they've taken the course through the NNA and it's just not up to what it should be. And we tell them that for $70, they can go to the NNA, they get their background screening from them. And if they take the test, which is all about the SPW, Signing Professionals Work Group thing, they take that, they get certified, and they get, all of the benefits of being certified by the NNA, plus the background screening.
Yeah, super important. And then you
So
get
it's not-
the profile on signingagent.com, which is an extremely valuable resource. There are escrow companies, signing companies that use that directory to hire you. So it's not a step I would skip.
Okay, and sorry to interrupt. I just want to actually ask Carol a question too, because it leads to my next question. So Carol, for Notary to Pro, do you guys it's like you offer another program to mentor up and coming notaries, correct?
It's part of our course. So when you pay for our courses, there's 3 of them, then we give you mentoring. I'm the mentor now. I get to do pretty much nothing but being mentor and doing these Zoom calls and things like that. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. But you're in the eastern states, right?
I'm in Texas, but we
okay.
have students. I think we've got over 10,000 students or graduates all over the country.
Okay. Yeah, I just would like to see if I can make a personal like face-to-face mentorship around in Southern California. I'm still looking around, and I asked last week, and I reached out to some people, but I guess they didn't respond, or they were busy. So here I am just asking again as well.
Yeah. So, and Joe, I love that you're looking, and it is going to be a challenge to find in-person local training. That's a challenge no matter what state you're in. But I would encourage you, if you're going to find somebody local, you number one, hold on, we got some interruption. Sorry, Bridget, muting you. You want to make sure that you vet your local mentor. So the question is, can someone please mentor me? I'm looking for a qualified mentor to see if we have some synergy. Can we talk? Because you want to make sure they have the results that you're looking for. You want to make sure that they have integrity that you're going to definitely, hopefully be looking for. So you're not getting training on the wrong way to do things, or skipping, cutting corners, or illegal acts, or different mindset. If you're taking advice from people who have different goals than you, then the work methods could be a little different. So you want to get really particular and specific when you're looking for a mentor.
One of the things, this comes up all the time. It drives me nuts. If a student of mine will come to me, and I hear this all the time, they've found a mentor. Oh, this person's been doing this business for 20 years, right? And then they come back to me and they'll say, you know what? I went with this person, and they don't tell you how to do an oath. They don't know how to do this. They didn't do this right. They filled in their journal. They filled in all of their notarial certificates before they ever went to the house. I mean, they make so many mistakes, and it's the old timers who have never had the ability, or the what do you call it? Be able to get good training, because back in those years, there wasn't any. And those are the ones that are going to get you in trouble. So be very careful, everybody out there, before you get a mentor, especially one who's been doing it for all these years.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely make sure they're on top. They're up to code with the state. And also just like my last question. I'm actually listening to you guys and I'm seeing in chat. So I just want to ask Laura. Everyone's been talking about you and your courses. Do you offer those too?
Yes, I don't certify notaries in loan signing work. I work with notaries who are already certified in loan signing work, and I take them to the next level on that. And then my other course is more about really understanding the technical aspect of being a notary, the notary part of notary signing agent, and making sure you really understand what you're doing. Particularly in California, we have so many laws and peculiarities on that. And those are offered one-on-one via a Zoom class live. I also offer that via group, but we've already done California. It'll be a few months before that comes back around. And then I do the specialty work, and those are the videos. Joe, what part of the state are you in?
Lower Riverside County.
Oh yeah, Southern
Riverside.
California. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, so as Bill mentioned, you might find you have to work a little harder to find somebody local. But the loan signing training classes, Carol's course is great online. Bill's Sign and Thrive is great online, and the NNA is great online. So I mean, any one of those, and then you can work with somebody once you have at least the framework to start with.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
Great suggestions. Thanks for being here, Joe. Welcome to the
All right.
industry.
Thank you so much.
All right. Guys, I just want to skip over to Phil Shannon really quick. Phil, can you take 30 seconds just to tell us what you got going on later on today?
Real quick, I just want to say Laura is incredibly dedicated. You know how cheap I am. I invited her for lunch and she turned me down to get to you guys on time because I'm in Modesto. So I just have to say that. But I do have a Zoom presentation. My phone number is in the chat. If you need the link, it will be a reoccurring link. And I think Bill's putting my number in the chat as well. I'd be happy to hear about how you can protect and grow your business. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Phil. All right. I think we have time for one more question. Gloria Castillo, thank you so much. You want to unmute. Tell us what state you're in and how we can help.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sure can.
Oh, hey, thank you for taking my question. I'm from Texas in Houston. I have a question about the Patriot, I think it's the Patriot Act. So I've had I only work through signing companies, and they're asking for a picture. It said on there a photo ID of both of the, like for me to take a picture of the ID, and which would be the driver's license, and the second one, which everyone's like, the social security card. But I thought we can't take a picture of the social security card. So I wanted to ask, what do you guys think?
Okay, great. Laura, Carol, what would you say?
I'm not aware of any restrictions on that, but I don't take pictures anyways of any IDs in my own phone.
So should I just tell them to like text it to me or email it to me from their phone to be like safe?
Have them make the copies and send it directly.
Yeah.
Well, and the reason why they ask, well, for the signing company that I have, they ask us to upload it through our portal. So that's why,
It's encrypted. Yeah, if they have a portal, have the people make copies of their identification, and they can send that through the encrypted portal that's provided to you. A lot of signing services now have those encrypted portals, and that's what you want to use. And it's not on your phone, not on your computer. Best way to do it. And by the way, the military, it's a big deal with the military IDs, because not even the owners, not even the military personnel are allowed to make copies of their IDs any longer.
Wow.
So I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how we're handling that, to be honest with you. Laura, have you heard anything?
about what to do when it's military instead.
Yeah,
They're not gonna get
because
a
they're
copy.
not supposed to make them either.
Yeah, nobody's supposed to make them, but other than the military ID, I want to say that when I call my signer to confirm my appointment, I let them know right then and there, I need copies of this and that. So would you please have them ready for me when I come to the assignment so that they have plenty of opportunity, either if they have it themselves, they have their own copy, or if they have to go somewhere and get one. So it's already on paper and I can just collect it.
Exactly.
So what if they don't? Like if you know, what if they say, I just don't have the ability? Would it just be like you said, be safer for them to take a picture of it and them upload it? Since they,
Yes.
you know, some people just don't have that. I found out, you know, a lot of people just don't have that ability to do that.
Yeah, just have them photograph it and then they can send it direct to the whoever needs it.
Okay.
The
Okay.
thing you're just trying to avoid, Gloria, is just the liability that comes with transmitting that personal data across the
Mhm.
internet. If anything were to happen, it could come back to you if you do it. So,
Yeah.
you know,
And I feel like
mitigate
they
that
make
risk.
it seem so easy, like, you know, in the notary instruction page of, okay, take a picture, you know, like, you know, and it's like, well, should I when Social Security came up for a picture, I was like, I don't feel comfortable taking a
Right.
picture of that because, you know, it's just, you
Yeah.
know, a driver's license, that's an ID they use, but the card itself, it's like, I don't want to have that anywhere on my
Right.
phone, on my email, anywhere at
Exactly.
all.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly the point. All right,
Okay.
Gloria, great question. Way to close us out. Guys, we're just a couple minutes past time. I just want to say thank you to Carol Ray from notarytopro.com. Thank you to Laura Buer from coachmelaura.com. And thank you guys for growing yourself and your business on a Tuesday. I love this time that we get to spend together. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place, 12 p.m. Pacific time every Tuesday.